never mentioned that there were men as dark as this. Wow, look at that nose. He's just like a pig. He's a monster! Hi!
In today's episode, I'm joined by Jeremy of the YouTube channel DoMoreLife. First off, I want to thank you for joining me today. Thank you.
Welcome.
You're currently in Thailand, so I wanted to start off by asking, what's Thailand like?
Thailand is a beautiful, beautiful country. Thailand is it's a good place to come for anyone who enjoys life, really, because life here is fairly easy. Life here is good as an expat. It's good as a tourist, and there's plenty of wonderful things that you can find to do in Thailand. It's a good place to come if you want to travel and get your start on traveling the world. Yeah.
What would be the best place to visit?
So far, I can't say what would be the absolute best place, but I can tell you that so far I've visited several places, and my favorite island has been Koh Samet. I've been to Koh Larn. Those would be some places that I would go.
Okay. And you were also in the Philippines. What were your thoughts about that country?
My honest opinion of the Philippines has been a little skewed since I came to Thailand, because I realized that the infrastructure, the government, everything is just a little more advanced in Thailand. The Philippines is a country that's trying. They're trying, but in my opinion, they're still a third world country, no matter how you look at it. Whereas Thailand, I believe, is a developed country. Thailand's infrastructure and organizational system of records, digital databases, far exceeds that of the Philippines.
Okay. And what are some facts about either of those countries that most people don't know?
Not really a whole lot of facts that people don't know, because I'm pretty transparent on my YouTube channel. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I haven't said publicly that would, change or be a surprise to anyone. I would think that maybe some facts would be that I lived in several places in the Philippines. I've lived in several places here in Thailand, so those would just be some facts that some people may not know, that just don't know me very well.
Okay. And you mentioned on your channel that you dated women from both Thailand and the Philippines. What are some differences between dating women in those countries?
Well, there are two main differences. The first is what I consider to be the most important, and that is, in the Philippines, you will meet a girl, you will go on a date with this girl, and you may go on a second date with this girl, but no later than the third date, absolutely no later than the third date, she is going to take you to meet her family. And now, again, I'm speaking in general here. This does not apply to 100% of every single Filipina alive. But in general, this is kind of how the culture works. She's going to take you to meet the family, and then the family is going to decide whether or not you are good enough to date their daughter. That's kind of how the Filipino culture works. Now, to contrast that with Thailand, which I think is so interesting, in Thailand, the girl will go on as many dates with you as she feels comfortable to do so, until she approves enough of you to meet her family, and then you will meet her family. So it's kind of like in Thailand, the girl is the decision maker of whether or not you're good enough to meet the family, and then in the Philippines, the family decides whether or not you are good enough to be the boyfriend for their daughter. And there are many reasons behind both of those, in my opinion.
But it's mostly culture that determines those differences.
It is culture. It is culture, and it has a lot to do with the different levels of poverty in the Philippines and Thailand. It has a lot to do with the family structure as well.
Okay.
Between the two countries.
Sorry?
Between the two countries.
Oh, okay. Do you feel as though any of those women that you've dated may have wanted you because you were white?
Sure. Certainly in the Philippines. In the Philippines, I feel like that a light-skinned person, whether it be a white man or just somebody who's light-skinned, light brown skin, probably has a better chance with a Filipina. I would think so. The ratio of interest seems to be more. The thought behind the logical prospect the pragmatic process of how they interpret this, or how the Filipina interprets this, is if you're a light-skinned man from the West, then you obviously have money and are wealthy and are set because you have made it over to their country. So thus you must, be at least somewhat wealthy. And in many cases, nothing could be further from the truth.
Was that the same for Thailand?
It is not quite the same for Thailand. Thailand, there are many more independent women here in this country that again, this is all generalization. I'm not an expert on dating. I'm certainly not a dating coach or any kind of expert in the field of relationships, but I have noticed here the women I've dated are much more independent, much more. I hate to use the term clingy, but they really don't. Both countries provide a level of woman that is intentionally jealous for reasons of they believe that the jealousy is a sign of affection, or I believe that they believe that anyway. In the Philippines, it can get a little crazy sometimes. In Thailand, it seems to be more controlled as long as you are with a girl that does not participate in the nightlife as her job.
Okay. Talking about money, do you feel as though like some women may have tried to date you or pursue you either in Thailand or the Philippines because they thought that you had money?
I don't. That's an excellent question, because I was always upfront with the women with Philippines and here in Thailand. I've never been one to really speak of money very much in either country, honestly. I have seen girls both in the Philippines and in Thailand pursue gentlemen because of money. But I personally do not feel like I have been pursued because of the facade of me being light skinned from the West and having money.
Okay. A couple more questions. First was, have you seen women who are in the Thailand or Philippines date men who weren't white, such as like black or Hispanic or darker skinned men?
I have. It's very uncommon in the places I've been in Thailand. Very uncommon to see interracial couples here. I've seen a few, but I haven't seen anything like the comparison in the Philippines. And even in the Philippines, it's few and far between. I don't know what the stigma is behind that. I'm not sure. I can make some educated guesses, but I'm not really much of a guesser. I tend to lean more toward logic and factual information. So I can't really say for sure what the problem is. I do know that I I have an African American friend that came over here to Thailand, stayed for I think about a week, and he had no problem with the Thai ladies over here. So I didn't see any issue with that. And the Philippines, more and more people of different backgrounds, different races, different ethnicities, and certainly different cultures are starting to pour in over there. And I think they have a legitimate. I think the stigma of the quote unquote, the light skin, light eyes, all that stuff. I think that's going away in both countries. I think they're more open to pretty much any type of person. I don't think skin. I think skin color and the separation between what that means for a woman is deteriorating.
Okay. You meant interracial dating as it pertains to overall, or interracial dating as it pertains to dating men who aren't light skinned?
Overall.
Oh, okay.
Overall. So in any kind of light skin, dark skin, brown skin, I think that the stigma is falling off. So, for example, what I mean is, probably 10 years ago, if you were to go to the Philippines or Thailand, you would see most of the interracial dating being light-skinned males, with the women. In today's society, from what I have seen, you're starting to see more and more of African American men or darker skinned men, perhaps Spanish, Italian, that kind of thing. You're starting to see more and more of that both in the Philippines and in Thailand.
Okay. The reason why I keep hammering this way is because some of the advertisements that come out of those countries may give a negative perception of, for people who aren't white, like what it's like to be over there. There was an ad a couple years ago that had a light-skinned Filipino person that said 10% lighter, 100% more numbers, and a Thai ad that had I think a South Korean one, but it was an ad for Thailand, and it said, just being white, you will win. And it's for skin whitening. So that's why you may have a negative perception of what it's like to live over there if you see those type of ads.
I have a negative perception of those skin whitening creams. I was blown away. I went to the Philippines first, obviously, and now I'm in Thailand. But I was blown away at the amount of skin whitening deodorant, skin whitening face wash, skin whitening shaving cream, skin whitening lotions in both countries. Just blown away by it. It's like Southeast Asia is under the pretense of exactly what you said. The lighter your skin, the more you're going to win. That's kind of what they seem to think. And for me personally, if I wanted a light-skinned woman, I would have stayed in America. So, I like the darker skin most of the time. It depends on the girl, but I like the darker skin myself. It's just a personal favorite.
And my final question is, do you have any advice for people who want to travel or live in Thailand or the Philippines?
Yes. If you want to travel and live in Thailand or the Philippines, do your homework. I mean, a lot of homework before you decide to make that move. Spend at least 1 month in the country before you make a decision to move there. If you can spend 6 months before you make a decision, do that. The longer that you stay in the country and the more culturally assimilated you become to whichever country you decide, the better your chances of not having a negative experience will be. And some of these, like my channel is all about improving people's quality of life by traveling and by living in other countries and that kind of thing. So you really want to make sure that you understand the visa process. You want to make sure you understand what the people are like. You want to understand a little bit about the cultural norms of each country. You just don't want to hit the ground, boots on the ground cold. You don't want to walk into that situation and not know anything. And my best advice to people is to really, really do as much homework as humanly possible.
Okay. So those are all my questions. Wanted to thank you for sharing your experiences. If you had anything else to add, go ahead. Otherwise, thank you.
I have nothing else to add. Very good to be brought on your blog, and I appreciate you very much for asking me to come on. So that's it.